The Senate will come to order. Senate will come to order. All senators return to the chamber, please. Senate will return to order. Chair recognizes the senator from the 32nd. What purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm asking for unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 21st and 29th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 21st and the 29th are excused. The Secretary will read the caption to HB 165.
House Bill 165 by Representatives Franklin of the 160th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation so as to repeal and reserve an income tax credit for business enterprises for leased motor vehicles, to exempt from sales and use taxation property used in construction, renovation, and rehabilitation of affordable housing by nonprofit organizations, to repeal sales and use tax exemptions for certain admissions to view film or videotapes and the sale of certain machinery and equipment used to improve air quality, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Huffstetter, the 52nd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance offers the following substitute to House Bill 165, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation so as to revise and expand a sales tax exemption for manufactured homes, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
I recognize the senator from the 52nd to present House Bill 165.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we're gathering up enough members in here for this, I want to talk about this bill and how it deals with our former Rules Chairman from Chickamauga. Now, he always said that Chickamauga was Indian for a great senator, but the way I read it, it's Cherokee for River of Death is the actual translation of it. But he would talk to us about manufactured homes and mobile homes and trailers and double wides, and he would claim that he knew a lot about them because they were all in his district. And I know he was accused of being a double wide a couple of times, but since he's left the legislature, he has slimmed down considerably. So he's kind of like some of the others that say once you leave here, life's really good. So we may get to that. But what we're talking about today, and the title is a little bit misleading because it talks about income tax credits. It doesn't mention double wides or trailers or mobile homes or anything. But Representative Camp had her bill stripped by our appropriations chairman for a tax bill that was sent over there. And so because she was so gracious and played along, we paid it forward, and we stripped another House bill and gave it to her. So this bill is her manufactured homes bill. And I say manufactured homes because since June 15th of 1976, that is when HUD, the Housing Urban Development, changed the name from mobile homes to manufacturing homes. And no, that was not Jimmy Carter, President Carter. It was President Ford the year before that changed that name to manufactured homes. This is a bill that will help on affordability of these manufactured homes, and it won't cost the state a penny. I call that a win-win. Currently, the law in the past has been they would pay a sales tax on these homes, but the law in many recent years is that those that are moved to a permanent location, they get a certificate of permanent location in Superior Court, that they only pay the sales tax on 50%. Now, the current language had left it unclear, and only the state portion of that was exempted. And with no opposition from ACCG or GMA, we've changed it to where now the local part, it's abundantly clear that the local taxes are exempted as well in this. So this will, as long as they get a certificate of permanent location, they have to have it within 30 days, or actually they pay 1.5 times the taxes on it. And that means they're no longer eligible for a certificate of removal from a permanent location. We are trying to encourage people to get into permanent location homes, affordable, and that's what this bill does. They have, as I said, there's no opposition from anybody on this. We appreciate Representative Camp working with us, and now we're helping her out with her bill just as well. So again, that's why the title's misleading. If there's no questions, I'll yield the well. I think I've got 29 in here now.
You do have a question, Senators. Chair recognizes the senator from the 31st.
Will the senator yield?
I'll certainly yield for the leader.
Senator, have you filled out your bracket? I heard the March Madness has started.
You know, actually, with 3 days in a row finance meetings, I have not filled out my bracket. So,
do you have any favorites to make it to the Final Four in Indianapolis?
Well, my favorite, of course, is probably a long shot, my University of Georgia, but they're in there.
Do you know the other school that's in the tournament this year?
I know a few other schools in it this year.
Who's Georgia playing in the first round?
I believe it's St. Louis they're playing.
Yeah, I think St. Louis is a pretty weak school. Any comments about Duke or the University of North Carolina where Michael Jordan played?
Well, we've had a lot of people go to that university, and it is a great university. But like I tell everybody, even aside from academics, Georgia has 2 of the top 15 public universities in the nation, according to the ratings. 40-something states have 0. We have 2. I'm sure it's all due to the chairman of higher ed and his work.
Well, Senator, I appreciate your work, and good luck to the University of Georgia.
From a yellow jacket, that's a kind thing to say. Thank you. And I'll yield the well if there's no further questions.
Senators yielded the well. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none and the previous question is ordered. Question, Senator from the 33rd, what purpose do you rise?
I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 9th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 9th is excused. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. Senator from the 33rd, what purpose do you rise?
I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 28th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, he'll be excused after this vote, Senator. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 46 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Secretary read the caption to House Bill 986.
House Bill 986 by Representative Jones of the 25th and others, a bill to amend Part 2A of Article 13 of Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to electric personal assistive mobility devices and personal delivery devices so as to revise operation procedures and restrictions for personal delivery devices to provide for related matters to repeal conflicting laws for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Science and Technology recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Setzler, Chairman. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Senator from the 47th, you're recognized to speak to the bill.
Well, good afternoon. I hope everybody got something good to eat for lunch. Said, I don't know how you got your lunch, but this bill is about delivering lunches. Said it'll get you through the hangry part of the day. Now, I know that my friend over here from the mountains would be wanting us to go a little faster and a little bit to the left, said they, because that's all they do is go round and round and round them racetracks. But you know, the bill's not going to get up to that kind of speed. What we're talking about are personally delivered devices, these little robots that you see going along beep, 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 you know, type deal. Pretty cute, but they actually do serve a good purpose, and it's one of those things that gets people what they want when they want it. The only thing that this bill does is we make a slight change in those personal delivery devices, allowing them to move from 4 miles an hour to 7 miles an hour. Many states allow them to go up to 10 miles an hour on sidewalks. We're holding them at 7. We want to try that and see how that works out for everybody. One of the other things it does is it actually does make a little noise all the time that it's moving. So anytime these things are moving, pretty easy. Said I'll ask for your favorable vote and your consideration on this bill, and hopefully they'll be delivering us some after lunch desserts. Are there any questions, Mr. President?
Yes, sir. Senator from the 33rd, you're recognized. Your light's on, at least.
Doc, I'm with you.
Ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 28th for business inside the Capitol.
We already did that, Senator. Thank you, though, for reminding us again.
The
there.
Big E.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 48th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield?
Yes, sir, from my friend from Forsyth.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the speed increase and what we're going from 4 to 7? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Up to 7.
Up to 7. Now, we had discussed in rules yesterday to maybe add a 0 to the end of that. Would you still be amenable to that as a friendly amendment?
Well, I don't like my lunch on the run. Said I want to make sure I can catch it. So I'm going to try to keep that to 7. That's about 10 feet per second. Said so I'm good for that.
Very well. Thank you.
No further questions, Senator.
Thank you. I'll ask for your vote and your support. Thank you very much.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Senator from the 55th, what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 5th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 5th is excused. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 986? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none, and the previous question is ordered. Is there objection agreeing the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. Senator from the 47th, what purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. President.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true the senator from the 47th is always delivering for his constituents?
Absolutely true. Thank you, Senator. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 44 and the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Senators, before we move on to the next bill, I want to acknowledge that my beautiful bride is here with us today. Adrian, stand up. We all know that we could not do this job without the support of our spouse and family, and I appreciate her support always. She is here today. She had a luncheon at the governor's mansion with the First Lady of the Senate and the First Lady of the State and the First Lady of the House and other spouses. So I'm glad she's with us today. Secretary will read the caption to House Bill 1123.
House Bill 1123 by Representative Jones of the 47th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 14 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to other educational programs under the Quality Basic Education Act so as to require certain schools that offer after-school programs to make such programs available to pre-kindergarten students on the same basis as the school's other students, to provide for limited waivers of such requirement, to provide for definitions, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws for other purposes. Mr. President, the Committee of the Senate on Children and Families recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kirkpatrick, Chairman. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Recognize the senator from the 32nd to speak to House Bill 1123.
Thank you, Mr. President. 1123 has to do with pre-K after-school care, and it resulted from a study committee about pre-K that found that there are a limited number of school systems, public school systems, that offer public pre-K classes and selectively don't offer after-school services to pre-K students while offering services to K through 5 students. This negatively affects working families, particularly those with multiple children in a school. So this bill requires all school systems that offer pre-K and after-school services to make the services available on the same basis to pre-K students. That's all the bill does. Happy to answer any questions.
I see no questions, Senator. You did a good job there. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none and the previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none and the main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill vote yea, opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 46, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read the caption of House Bill 1195.
House Bill 1195 by Representatives Leverett of the 123rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 50 of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to telemedicine by veterinarians and veterinary technicians so as to revise provisions relating to the practice and provision of veterinary triage and voluntary telemedicine to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Committee of the Senate on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Goodman, Chairman. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Senator from the 50th, what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 29th for business outside the chamber.
Without objection, the senator from the 29th is excused. I recognize the senator from the 32nd to speak to House Bill 1195.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 1195 was drafted in consultation with the Georgia Veterinary Medical Association and the Department of Agriculture. It's a cleanup bill that clarifies the intent of Senate Bill 105 from the 2025 session, which inadvertently impacted animal poison control. So this bill allows, it removes restrictions for veterinary teletriage and resolves confusion about geographic requirements that created uncertainty for practitioners doing teletriage. It clarifies intent that these limitations were never intended and should not be a barrier. All the interested parties have signed off on the legislation. There's been no opposition, and I would ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
No questions, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none and the previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none and the main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea, opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. My supervisor is here. I don't want to mess up. Secretary, read the caption to House Bill 1234.
House Bill 1234 by Representatives Taylor of the 173rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 19 of Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the State Employees Assurance Department so as to provide for the assignment of certain group term life insurance benefits to pay for funeral services of a deceased individual who was a member of the Employees Retirement System of Georgia, Georgia Legislative Retirement System, or Georgia Judicial Retirement System, to provide for a definition, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Retirement recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Williams, Chairman. Mr. President, an auditor's note and certification has been attached. Mr. President, that completes the order.
I recognize the senator from the 25th to speak to House Bill 1234. All right, it's going to be the senator from the 16th.
Thank you, Mr. President. HB 1234 is a beneficiary designation for group term life insurance that is with the Employees Retirement, Legislative Retirement, and the Judicial Retirement Systems. What this would allow is that when someone passes away, the beneficiary of that policy can assign to the funeral home or embalmer the benefits that are there so that the bills will be paid directly by the state and the balance would be sent directly to the beneficiary, whatever the balance is. So it's really a good bill from that standpoint that once the person passes away, his beneficiary can assign that directly to the funeral home to pay those bills. Good bill. Any questions?
Good explanation. No questions. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 46, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read the caption of House Bill 1408.
House Bill 1408 by Representatives Camp of the 135th and others, A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 19 of Title 31 and Chapter 50 of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to control of rabies in veterinarians and veterinary techniques, respectively, so as to authorize licensed veterinary technicians under the direct supervision of a licensed veterinarian to administer anti-rabies vaccinations to animals required by the state to be inoculated against rabies, to update terminology and make conforming changes, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Goodman, Chairman. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Recognize the senator from the 13th.
Seconds, right? Hey, colleagues, I bring you House Bill 1408. Just to let you know, this bill was drafted in consultation with the Georgia Department of Veterinary Medicine Association, Department of Agriculture, and Department of Public Health. This bill simply does one thing. It allows a veterinary technician who is licensed to administer the rabies vaccine under the supervision of a veterinarian. Any questions? I yield for Mr. President. They said do it quick. We're going to do it quick.
You do have questions, Senator. Recognize the senator from the 32nd.
Thank you, Senator. Would you yield?
Absolutely.
Isn't it true that we have a shortage of veterinarians in our state?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Isn't it true that we have a shortage of veterinarians in our state?
That is absolutely a factual statement, Senator. And we're working every day. ABAC, Abraham Baldwin has the vet technician program down at ABAC, and they are pushing for more and more and more university students to get into the veterinary program. Thank you for that question.
And would you yield for one more?
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't it also true that since the animals can't vaccinate themselves, that we need to protect Georgians from this deadly disease by making it easier to get a rabies shot?
Well, now that you said that, as you well know, only one person in history has ever survived the rabies shot. So in reality, and what we're doing here is these animals have to be vaccinated, and the reason it goes through a veterinarian is to make sure your animal is vaccinated. That's why you cannot buy the rabies vaccination online or from other places and give the rabies vaccine yourself. Thank you for that question.
You got one more question, Senator. Recognize the senator from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, you yield?
Absolutely.
Is it true that rabies affects folks who are older more than folks who are younger?
Now, Senator, I don't believe that to be a true statement.
Okay. Will you yield for another question?
Are we talking about age or are we talking about people?
We're gonna
Go ahead.
I think we're talking about both. Is it not true that Google says that you are 78 years old on one page? Wikipedia says that you are 48. And a third site says that you are 58.
Right now.
Is that not true?
I believe that's true.
Would you mind telling us which one is correct?
Ooh, let me hear. I'm going to go with the 47, Senator. I'm going to go with the 47. What do you think?
You look it. You look it. Yep. You got it.
That's 40.
The man of mystery. Yep.
We good?
You're good. You're good. Well, I don't know if you're good, but you're done at least, you know. Any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? The chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. Previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. All those in favor of the bill vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Senator from the 52nd.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 1199.
Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 1199 by Representatives Carson of the 46th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 48-1-2 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to definitions regarding revenue and taxation so as to revise the definition of the terms Internal Revenue Code and Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to incorporate certain provisions of federal law into Georgia law to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date and applicability, to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate offers the following substitute to House Bill 1199, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 48-1-2 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to definitions regarding revenue and taxation so as to revise the definition of the terms Internal Revenue Code and Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to incorporate certain provisions of the federal law into Georgia law to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date and applicability, to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following amendment. Amend House Bill 1199 by replacing lines 1 through 4 with the following: to amend Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation so as to revise the definition of the terms Internal Revenue Code and Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to incorporate certain provisions of the federal law into Georgia law, to provide for exemption of income taxes on overtime and tips, to provide for a sunset of such exemption, to provide for a cap on tax credits for qualified low-income buildings, to temporarily suspend collection of taxes on motor fuels, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Recognize Senator from 52nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. This we had the other day was the IRS conformity bill. We went through it pretty thoroughly. I will just discuss the changes that were made to it unless people want to go into it further. The House took out the no tax on tips and overtime from this bill. So it is our position that we will pursue that in a separate bill. The LIHTC that had been reduced, they have restored with a $100 million cap on each year. So that's back in there. The third thing we have in the bill here today is a gasoline tax suspension for the next 60 days. And we all know we've seen the higher prices at the pump, and they have obvious immediate effect on everyday Georgians. But besides that, we also recognize that these prices trickle through the economy, higher fertilizer costs, higher food costs, and have an effect on there. So we're looking at suspending this, and at the same time, we're hopeful that the ongoing international conflict, which is temporarily driving up energy prices, comes to an expeditious and successful conclusion. And we're certainly mindful of persistent affordability concerns and are using every tool at our disposal, including tax rebates that we've approved, property tax help, everything we can to help out everyday Georgians to deliver relief for all our hardworking people here. And so hopefully this will be resolved, but in the meantime, we're going to do what we can to help our citizens of Georgia have the lowest cost possible. With that, I'll answer any questions.
You do have one question. Senator from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield.
Certainly.
Thank you. Senator, appreciate the compromise work that's been done to get us to an acceptable bill. Just curious, do you happen to know how close we've come in the last couple of years to that $100 million cap, or how much of it we're using now, and do we anticipate hitting that cap in the next few years?
Well, I don't know because we haven't, the cap, you know, the federal law expanded it for 94%, so I couldn't say what that would do to it. I don't have those figures, no.
Okay, do you further yield?
Certainly.
Do you know how that cap came to be decided upon? Do you have any idea of the House's reasoning in picking that number?
They didn't discuss it with me, but they felt like, I think the original was going to be about $890 million, and for the next 5 years it would be $500 million. So that's what they had put in the bill.
Okay. Thank you, Senator.
You have no further questions, Senator.
Thank you. Urge your passage of this bill, and let's get that gas tax off our citizens of Georgia. Send this to the governor, and I think he'll be ready to get going on it. Thank you very much.
Would any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Senator from the 9th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say that I appreciate my colleagues today considering suspending the gas tax. It was a request, and it really is not a partisan issue. It was just that we could provide relief for Georgians here. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank the House for bringing the bill forward, and I want to thank you all for the support. And it's a win for our constituents, and hopefully we'll give them much needed relief while we get through this time. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield well.
Thank you, Senator. Any other senators that wish to speak for the measure or against the measure? All right, we're going to go ahead and just put it on the board. All those in favor of the motion from the senator from 52nd will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion to agree as amended, the yeas are 51 and the nays are 0. Recognize the senator from the 52nd.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate immediately transmit HB 1199 to the House so that we can get this relief to the people of Georgia starting now.
Is there objection? Without objection, it's immediately transmitted. Thank you, Senator. Good job. Recognize the majority leader.
Mr. President, I move the Senate stand adjourned until 9 a.m. on Friday, March 20th.
Majority leader has moved. Secretary, read the announcements.
The Rules Committee will meet upon adjournment in room 450 of the Capitol. The Education and Youth Committee will meet in room 307 of the CLOB at 3 p.m. The Government Oversight Subcommittee will meet in room 310 of the CLOB at 4 p.m. The Judiciary Committee will meet in room 307 of the CLOB at 4 p.m. The Regulated Industries and Utilities Committee will meet in room 450 of the Capitol at 5 p.m. The Insurance and Labor Committee will meet in room Mezzanine 1 at 6 p.m. The Ethics Committee will meet in room 307 of the CLOB at 7 p.m. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Are there any other announcements? Y'all please go to your committees. Majority Leader has moved that the Senate stand adjourned until 9 a.m. Friday, March 20th. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it. Have a good one.